Please stand for O Canada. My name is Claude Schryer. Welcome to a special episode of the Place of Sound podcast. Produced in Carleton University's Communication and Media Studies program by Dr. Vincent Andrisani and airing on CKCU-FM campus radio here in Ottawa. So the Place of Sound explores the idea of place through the ears of students and sometimes guest producers like myself. Do check out the podcast. And it's an honor for me to be here and to do a program for this podcast. I'm speaking to you from my home here in Ottawa, which is on the unceded and unsurrendered territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe nations, who are the customary keepers and defenders of the Ottawa River watershed and its tributaries. So what you'll hear today, what you just heard a few minutes ago, are excerpts from a project I did for Bivouac Recordings, a sound label based in Hong Kong, back in 2017. And it was part of a project called 60-Minute Cities that is curated by Terence Lauren. And the project was really interesting. I did a portrait of Ottawa as one of many from around the world. And so it's a series of albums that are focused on individuals' genius loci, or the spirit of a place, which is in fact closely related to the objectives of this Place of Sound podcast. So each of the 60-minute cities in each album is a personal document of the recordists' rediscovery of their city through sound. In my case, I was born in Ottawa, but I lived in many other places until I moved here in 1999. When did I move here? 99, that's right. So the 60 minutes of recordings are taken from the recordist's own personal surroundings and include photos and texts to describe the significance of these sounds to their own lives. The result is a document that reveals the deepest character of a place through a native resident's own experience, so that locals and non-locals, as well as the recordist, can reconnect with the city and rediscover the beauty of their place. So this is what I did, and you'll hear the sounds I recorded, which happened to be in the winter time in Ottawa in 2017. But first, who am I? Qui suis-je? Well, some of you might know me as a composer and audio artist. Until September of 2020, in 2020, my day job was here in Ottawa at the Canada Council for the Arts, where I was a senior strategic advisor. And then I worked with a number of people from around Canada to create a art and climate organization called SCALE, the Sectoral Climate Arts Leadership for the Emergency. And you can imagine why that is needed. I also set up my own podcast, a bilingual one, conscient podcast, Balado Conscient, that explores art and the ecological crisis. And I'm just completing season 4 of the podcast, which will end on December 31st with episode 153. And I invite you to check that out at any time on conscient.ca. There are numerous subscription options and way to connect with that, including a blog that I do every month. But today, I'm taking a break from the darker side of podcasting about emergencies and crises and those things, and I'm accepting Vincent's kind invitation to share with you what I have recorded in the city of Ottawa and how I, as a soundscape composer and field recordist, record and what these sounds mean to me. And, Ottawa's a special place for me because I was born here in 1959, and my wife and I have moved here in 1999. Our children were raised here, and we still live here. Let's stop for a minute of silence. So this recording is called Commemoration and was recorded on November 11th, 2016 at 10:58 a.m., just before the 11 o'clock minute of silence. And I was at the National War Museum on Elgin Street. For those who know Ottawa, that's just a few steps from Parliament Hill. And of course, this is Remembrance Day in Canada, our national day to remember those who died in military service. It's New Year's Day, 2017, and there is quietness in my neighborhood, and I'm about to go for a winter run, and there will inevitably be winter sounds of snow clearing and crows and feet stomping and freshness of the snow. Moving on, I invite you to join me for a run. Morning. Now, this sequence was recorded on New Year's Day, 2017, at about 11:28 a.m. Back then, I was a marathon runner, so you can hear me pacing through Ottawa. The sounds are combination of snow and slush and all of the materials that one can contact on the earth, on the frozen earth. So I invite you to listen to this and see what you hear.
That one. Sorry. A decree shall go out. That's strongman.
Did he say that?
The decree shall go out.
I don't remember
From
hearing
Caesar,
that.
from Donald Augustus. That's why I said it that way.
Okay.
Is that
Epidemic of
And one of the movements that you hear often, or once in a while anyway, in Ottawa, are protests, such as this one that I recorded on January 21st, 2017, at 11 a.m. at the corner of Elgin and Gloucester Street. And on this day, and the date's very important, women and some men marched in solidarity with the Women's March on Washington, a grassroots effort to protest the Donald Trump presidency, one day after his inauguration, and to stand together in solidarity, and to recognize that vibrant and diverse communities are a strength. And it was quite something to be there, listening and recording these songs, these cries of angers, the slogans, the echoes of hope. And what you're hearing are things like "No limits for women," "The people united will never be defeated," and my favorite, "Tiny hands, tiny feet, all Trump does is tweet, tweet, tweet." And I hope we won't have to protest like this again on January 21st, 2025. Moving to the Ottawa River, or Kitchissippi, as it is known in the Algonquin language. This recording was made on January 29th, 2017 at 1:34 p.m. Those of you who know Ottawa will know that the Ottawa River is very big. 1,271 kilometers in length, with a drain area of 146,300 square kilometers. Where I recorded was where the current is quite strong, and you can hear the deep rumble of rushing water and the breaking ice. You can also hear high-pitched cross-country skiers along a path by the river. So that combination of high pitch and low rumble is quite cool. Okay, where are we now?
Going down. On descend.
A building, an elevator, an office space. Ottawa has many things, including the federal government and many agencies and
Ground floor. Rez-de-chaussée.
I have to say, I love the sounds of an office, the hums and the clicks and the echoes and the drones and the patterns that come through office life. I find that quite interesting. So this recording explores those spaces and in particular spaces where one enters and exits, those doors and clacking and security systems. You'll also notice that the elevators are bicycle.
Deuxième étage. Going up, on monte.
Let's go for a skate on the famous Rideau Canal.
The world's largest skating
It's
rink.
January 26, 2017, and we're skating at a rapid pace. Can you feel the wind on your face? Can you feel the rumble of the ice under your skate? For those who don't know, the Rideau Canal skateway is the largest skateway in the world. 7.8 kilometers long. Unfortunately, last year, 2022, the skateway did not open at all because of warming temperatures in Ottawa. Which is, of course, a sign of climate change. And that climate emergency is why I have become involved in creating a podcast about art and the ecological crisis and those other organizations that are trying to increase the presence of the arts in these crises that we have. And one of the things that we do, we encourage, especially in the acoustic ecology movement, is listening. Listening critically, changing our position of listening in ways that inform us about context and fragility and all those kinds of things. Our time's almost up, so let's go back to Parliament Hill. It's February 18th, 2017, and it's about 11:58.
सारा साल लोड़ी चलती है
Now people gather all the time at this flame, the eternal flame, in front of Parliament Hill, and sometimes it's to protest, sometimes it's to mourn, sometimes it's to celebrate. There are also a lot of tourists who come and listen to the Thanks for listening to this special episode of The Place of Sound. My name is Claude Schryer. I want to thank Vincent Andrusani for his support and to congratulate the students of Carleton University for their excellent programming, and to CKCU Radio for broadcasting them. Thank you for listening, and I hope you are able to discover your own places of sound.